Ladies and gentlemen, a stock, it's rising. On your 1 minute chart, it starts to pull back and then it stalls out. You buy again, expecting the uptrend to start again, but instead the pullback continues. You sell out, but then afterwards it goes back up again. And you find yourself getting chopped around in the same trade over and over. The price stalls again. Thankful for the pause in the selling, you get out with a loss. You're upset. You didn't wait for a better entry. The timing wasn't there. The stock didn't react exactly at the moment in which you commanded it to. And you aren't even paying attention because at that point the price starts to go again without you. You just missed the real entry point in a winning trade. Does that sound familiar? We're going to talk about tips that you could do to exude more patience in this environment and how to improve your performance as well. I am Mark Melnick, and this is the Newsbeat Show. So, every single strategy that you see out there, they always feel like they have to tell you the entry and the exit point because you need to get from A to Z. You can't just basically, it used to be back in the days, somebody would say, you know, how do I get to, Charles Street? And somebody would point over there and say, it's over that way, and would give you the general direction. You could start like going to there where you might have to ask again. Nowadays in trading, people really feel like they have to say, okay, where do I enter? Where do I exit? What if I'm wrong? What if I'm right? And they have to set up this whole system around it. The problem with that system is it fails 98% of traders. So how do you have more patience? How do you prevent over trading when every strategy is telling you where and when to get in a trade and where and when to get out? But you need to wait for that moment of truth to arrive. The trader, in in your example, not only lost on a trade they jumped into prematurely, but you also lost a real entry and potential other opportunities in the market. So let's talk about impatient, and then I'm going to give you tips on how to be patient, and then I'm going to give you my final closing thoughts on everything. So losing money because you bought right before a price drop and then sold before a price rise because you were frustrated or disheartened, and it's a terrible, terrible feeling. And when this situation occurs, traders often think that their timing is off, or maybe you feel like you're out of sync with the market, or maybe you're not as good of a trader as you were last week, and maybe you start filling yourself with psychologically toxic thoughts. Um, well, that may be true. It's doubtful. And a better way to look at this situation is a lack of patience. Impatient trades lead to unnecessary losses, additional stress, wasted emotional energy, and increased psychological toxicity. These factors then cause you to miss valid signals and valid setups that often occur soon after you get out of a losing trade. If your expectations on price direction are often correct, but you're not usually in a trade when the price moves in the expected direction, your patience is likely off. How many people of you can relate, oh my God, I was watching it all day, da 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 da. Then you look at the stock and it's ripping up without you, and you're like, darn, I should have been watching that, right? So I think we can all relate with that. How do we improve it? I'm going to talk about the aspects of improving and then throw some tips your way that will hopefully get you to that level in which you can see it as helpful. Most traders have a strategy they follow that tells them, again, when and where to get into a trade. That strategy, if traded correctly, should yield a profit on average. Otherwise, there's no point in using it. It sounds simple, but traders face this problem. When you're watching a fast moving chart in real time, your mind gets tricked into thinking you should get into a trade before the setup is actually fully formed. You don't want to miss a trade, so you get in a bit early and usually end up with a loss. Wait for the setup to fully form and trigger your trade. That is really the key. Wait for your setup to fully form. You also have to be okay with missing a trade. I probably missed 99% of the things that I was thinking of taking. That means I'm a healthy trader because I don't feel the obligation. It's easier to look at something, formulate a quick thought, than it is to actually walk in, type in a symbol, enter the trade, So you are going to miss a lot more trades than you're going to catch, and that is actually normal. You shouldn't let this ever bother you. No trade should occur unless the market literally sets you up perfectly for your strategy. If you're following your strategy and still you're getting in a bit, too early, have a brainstorming session on what you could do differently. This is one of the tricks I do. Start saying, okay, well, how could have I caught it? Look at the chart, see what's happening. Is there anything you could do differently? For example, if the price is trending higher and then starts to pull back, consider waiting for that pullback to pause before considering getting in. Once the price starts to grind and sort of like move sideways, try watching for like little clues in your chart that the price is starting to maybe go higher again. If the sideways movement or digestive pattern or consolidation pattern lasts for several bars, whether you're watching a 1, a 5, a 15, a 60, a daily, whatever time frame you're watching is irrelevant. But if you see it's lasting for a few candlesticks, it may help to watch for the price to move above the high for the consolidation to sort of trigger and take off. If the price is wiggling around during the pullback, try watching for slightly higher bars and higher lows in those tiny price movements, tiny price moves within the pullback. So I just want to show you something. Like I had a five-figure day today, but like I think it's definitely one of the hardest weeks. So I was watching like GME today, right? So I was watching GameStop today, as probably many of you were, and it opened up right over here and just started falling and getting halted and did this whole nonsense in the morning. But there's something, I was just looking at this chart and I noticed something. I noticed something magical. I noticed something really magical. Every time you put in a 1 minute green bar and you go high, and this is a 1 minute chart, 60-second chart here. So every time you're on this GME chart and you get in on a 1 minute bar and you put in a 1 minute green bar, if the next candlestick breaks higher, you can make money most of the time. On a day like today, if you're scalping, and I was entering and exiting via market orders, I wasn't even using limit orders on this for common stock. So, for example, right over here, you might see this little 1 minute bar and you'd be like, yeah, what's that BS? That's not a lot, right? Well, I'll tell you what this BS is. This little pop here is almost a 10-point move. I know, looks can be deceiving. The high of this candle is 147.97, and the high of this candle is 157.80. So literally $9.83, or excuse me, $9 and yeah, 83 cent move, almost $10 move on this little green candle. And I'm not saying I was catching the 10-point move, but I'd catch a dollar, two, three, four, just simply marketing in and out. And that's how I approached it because and by the way, I didn't catch this trade by the way. I was catching later trades after I noticed the pattern, but what I'm showing you now is how the pattern was actually identified. And while this would lead to what some consider over trading, um, on a day like today, this is sort of what I was doing while waiting for better setups. And then I'll share with you the best trade I caught today. So you can see even here, this like nice green bar here. This nice green bar was a seven point move right over here. It's $7.03 move right here from the high of this candle to the high of this candle, and then got halted and even shot up further. So if you're actually looking throughout the whole day just to go on, you'll notice that every time you put in a green bar and you break the prior green bar high, you get some form of scalpable move. It's almost like magical. And I don't know why GME was doing this today. The strategy seemed pretty simple because all I was doing was clicking buy to open, sell to close, buy to open, sell to close, market buy, market not buy, market buy, market sell, market buy, market sell on the common stock. And obviously I sold my calls in the morning for a nice profit and all, but I thought today was a very hard day overall. So this is sort of in a position where I started over trading. So I'm not exactly recommending people do anything, legally saying I would never tell you to buy or sell a security, but I'm just showing you sort of how to start identifying things that are working when you're trying to come to some form of conclusion. So, you know, I'm going to talk about some clues now on how to be patient with your trading, and I want to give you a line here. You guys know what a cheetah is, right? What is a cheetah? It's a type of cat. What's special about the cheetah? What's special about the cheetah? Anyone know? Speed. It's the fastest land animal on the planet. Okay? Fastest land animal on the planet. And although the cheetah is the fastest animal in the world and can catch any animal on the open plains, it will wait until it is absolutely sure it can catch its prey. It may hide in the bush for days, sometimes a week, waiting for just the right moment. It will wait for a baby antelope, and not just any baby antelope, but preferably one that is sick or injured. And only then, when there is no chance it could lose its prey, does it attack. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the epitome of professional trading. Our current world is sort of cursed with this penchant for instant gratification. We want a person to answer our text now. We need the food to be ready now. We have to watch the entire season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians now. We want to buy that watch, that car, that bag now. We need to get money now. In trading, as well as in life, instant gratification usually is the enemy of your success. Instant gratification makes it impossible to excel at anything. Okay? You need patience and persistence to become good at something. In fact, if you are really persistent, it's only a matter of time before you will actually succeed. But without patience, you're not going to be able to succeed in any field. And there's a famous line by Warren Buffett. The most famous line I'm going to share with you an unfamous line by Warren Buffett. So, Warren Buffett said that, buy when others are fearful and sell when others are greedy. Just paraphrasing him, right? There's another line by Warren Buffett that says, you can't produce a baby in 1 month by getting 9 women pregnant. And Warren Buffett also said that. It literally shows you the power. That's a real Warren Buffett line, by the way. It shows you the power of patience. And, I'm going to share with you, would you guys like some straight up tips on how to, on how to overcome this? Okay. So the first thing is understand why it is you're making a trade at a certain point. You have to know why. Okay. You have to really get really clear on why you're making a particular trade. If the reason of why you're trading is good and strong enough, it'll be easier for you to not get carried away by your impatience. If you're trading because you like the excitement of winning and losing daily, or the satisfaction to show the world that you're right on a few trades, you could have, probably done better in the casino. If you're trading because you really want to be able to support your family or be able to give to massive amounts of charities or become financially independent, associating this goal with patience will remind you of why being patient is important to you and keeps you from making rash decisions. So, what you should be able to do as the exercise is you should be able to just literally draw out a chart. You should be able to just literally draw out a chart and draw out, even if you can't do it on the chart, even a piece of paper, maybe do it in both, where you actually can see why you are doing a particular trade. Why? What are the rules? What do you want to see? I'll even demonstrate for you. So let's say you're going through a hard time and you want to get back on track, right? Let's say you're going through a hard time. So for me, I might say one of the things that I want to do to justify a trade is I want to see something like I want to see candlesticks like this. I want to see candlesticks like this. I want to see, you know, my, I want to see my my exponential moving average hit here. And then what I want to see afterwards is I want to see the next, whoa, I want to see the next candlestick breakout. And I want to buy this candlestick for the break of this bar, but my entry on this candlestick utilizing my front run strategy. I want to buy in this candlestick like right over there. That's where I want to buy it. And then I want it to trigger, go up higher, and then I want to sell it sometime in the future. I don't care if I end up, selling it here or here or here, and that's what I want to get back on track if I was having a hard time. So what I'll do is I'll literally wait for a stock in which I feel comfortable trading or would want to trade that would set up like this. Like, and this is a real example. And yes, there would be several things that I would be comfortable with. And I've been doing this for a long time, but sometimes just going back to the basics like this is exactly what people need to just get back on track again. The second thing I tell people is don't focus on the money. Focusing on the money is going to activate, actually, I don't know if you guys know, but focusing on money is actually activating your fight or flight response. And on your flight or fight response, you're going to act very irrationally. Try as much as possible not to associate your trades with the money. Try to associate it with the setup. And to do so, for instance, you can focus exclusively on your charts. You could hide your P&L on any particular trade, and you could stop watching your account P&L every day and just follow your trading plan instead of how much you might make or lose. I don't do this currently, but I'll tell you a story of one day that I did. One day I was having a really tough time. I'd buy something, it would go up, I would sell, I would make a little money, the stock would keep running, I would get FOMO, I would try to buy back in, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell a bunch of times until I gave back that initial money I made and more. Or I would buy a stock and it would drop a little and I'd be waiting for that bigger move and I would be trying to give it more room and then it wouldn't happen and then the stock would go down, then I would take a loss. So what I did, and it's a number of years ago, so what I did was I literally hid my P&L. I tiered for 500 shares, and I literally hid my P&L, and I just traded the way I felt like trading based on the chart. I ended up trading probably a couple 100,000 shares that day with 500 share lots, just so we're clear. So I was doing a lot of trades, just, you know, it was like a caveman sex manual. It was like in, out, repeat if necessary. And that's pretty much what I was doing every single day for like a week when I was hiding my P&L. And I would look at the end of the day, and it's kind of crazy. I had no idea what I was up or down on the day. I had no idea that I was even up. It was crazy. I was just completely so zoned in on the chart. And then I looked and I'm like, wow, I'm up like $5,000 and I had no idea if I was up or down. It's kind of crazy. So don't focus on the money. Try to focus on the setup. The next thing is try to have sort of a rule list or a checklist before you do any single one of your trades, before entering any trade. So just like an airplane pilot before they take off. Yeah, you need a checklist to go through before entering any trade. When you see an opportunity, you know, make sure it's checking off everything that you need to make that trade viable for you, you know? You'll see right away whether you should or should not enter that trade. Whatever happens after, even if it didn't set up the way you wanted it, like what's the worst that can happen? It's going to go up without you? Oh no. Do you realize how many hundreds of lotteries are won around the world without you playing them? Hundreds. And it happens every day, and it's going to continue to happen. The next thing is what I like to do in the market is really slow and grindy, and you can't find a setup. It sounds crazy. It sounds crazy, but sometimes, and like for me, I'm always doing something because I'm running a room. So for me, personally, I'm going to be looking and reading news headlines and whatnot, and reading, you know, news sites as I'm sitting here and looking for something. But what I like to do while I'm sitting there and reading it, instead of looking at my charts, I'll just put on something else. So what I did was I literally have an HBO Max subscription. I don't know if you guys have Netflix subscription or Amazon Prime. I have an HBO Max subscription. I just literally put on The Matrix. Like I just literally, it's like my favorite movie of all time. So I just literally just like put on the Matrix while I'm looking for news flow for the room and whatnot because I don't want to get sucked into a stupid useless setup that's going to do nothing more than just likely hurt me at the end of the day. You feel me? So I didn't even want to get sucked into that nonsense. So I sort of edged back. I sort of stepped back away from it and I could just read my charts while doing this and just wait for a better time to trade. You know, part of the problem with trading is people, you know, if you're working, you don't want your significant other, especially this happens especially with people in relationships, especially people who have like a fiance or husband or wife, or if you're living with your parents, for example. What happens is you want to sort of create this aura that you're a hard worker. I get it. I get it. You want to create this aura like you're a hard worker, but what ends up happening is unfortunately you become a stupid worker because you start forcing things that are not there. So getting busy with something else is a great way to detoxify from the market. I have so many people just telling me, Mark, I'm taking the strategies in the morning, I'm trading 30 minutes, I'm making my 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, and I'm just walking away. 100, 200, 500, 1,000, I'm just walking away. Doesn't matter. Up or down, I don't care. I'm just walking away. And that's usually one of the best ways to detach yourself from a market. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise that you should be doing something, at all times or you're lazy if you're not in front of your computer smashing your keyboard. The last thing I want to talk about is sleep. Getting a good night's sleep. Um, I'm not going to look for the psychological studies I've read. Do your own due diligence. I'm not a doctor. There's a direct correlation between sleep deprivation and lack of patience. They're actually completely correlated. So if you're not getting good sleep, you're going to have no patience. You're going to have no patience. You're not going to be able to do it. So getting good sleep is a very important thing to get your patients going to bed early instead of staying up and, sulking on a losing day and, things like that. I completely understand, people who go through that. And I guess I just want to leave you with these final thoughts here, which will really help, hopefully, connect everything we've talked about tonight. I want you to be patient. If you're patient, you will get to where you want to be. If you rush your trades or become impatient and do not wait for good trades, you're going to find yourself worse than when you actually started. The irony is that we frequently want action. We want to do something, anything, but in trading, less is more. When we see constant action, typically we end up with the kind we don't want, where we are constantly fighting to get out of losing trades and are trying to contain losses. If we only wait for the really great setups and then pounce on it like the cheetah, once we see a great trade setup, we can no longer hesitate. you know, that's when we have to jump on it. We may have to deal with a bit of boredom from time to time. That's common. I'm telling you, over my 22-year career as an active day trader, yes, that is a very common thing. But at least we won't have to battle against a plethora of impulsive trades which only serve to deplete our mental resources, our monetary resources, and our psychological resources. Taking your time to do things will give you more time because you will spend less time fixing hastily made mistakes. Trading cannot be rushed. The market provides certain setups for you based on the strategies you do, and the market determines when we trade, not you. When you determine, that's when we get in trouble. The market needs to determine when you're actually going to make a trade. Our only goal should be to act when those signals or those trades or those setups appear. If we feel like we could be doing more to extract profit, then the actions we should be taking are research, strategy development, testing, and most importantly, self improvement. This is much more productive work than simply, banging away with your 10 thumbs on the keyboard with your buy and sell button like this because you're impatient. I feel like some traders, they just put on like a bike helmet and they just start headbutting their keyboard nonstop. I mean, you guys just really, just stop, take a step back. The grindy times always pass and they always come back. The market is a very cyclical thing. You've probably heard that before, and trading is no different. I hope you guys enjoyed this show tonight. Happy trading, make money, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Links in the description if you're interested in anything we do.